Good morning, everyone. My name's Helen McIntosh, and I'm the president of the South East London Chamber of Commerce. Today, we've got a really exciting webinar, which is entitled Optimize Your Website for Conversions. Now, we all need this. This is being, excuse me, we're going to have Sam, exciting, we're going to have Sam and Mike doing a co-presentation. So, and they are based, their company is called Sixtwo Web Agency. So with further ado, over to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As Helen said, I'm Sam, Head of Web at Sixtwo, and Mike is our Senior Designer. So like Helen said, we are a web agency based in London Bridge. And in a nutshell, we do everything website related, from design, build, SEO, hosting, and maintenance. We want to help you look at your website today in a new light and improve that conversion rate. By the end of the presentation, we want you to walk away asking yourself what questions you could share with your website. So why are we doing this? Quite often we have conversations with clients who like a new website, but haven't thought about their intentions. Or we have clients who have a website, but didn't provide any value at the time. And we quite often have this conversation where we try and help clients have that intention for their website and set those objectives so that the website can support those business needs. So to do that, we want you to look at your website like an employee and ask yourself, if your website was an employee, would you fire it or would you even promote it? So imagine you're preparing for your annual review for your website and you need to think about it like a team member. You'd ask yourself, what team does it belong to and is it a team player? You would review its job description and see if it's meeting the role that it was set out to do. And you'd think about how long they've been hired. Have they been given enough training, been kept up to date? And how have they spent their time at the company? You would ask if it's been given the investment it needs to do its job. Has it got all of its tools and its needs, or has it just been neglected because it's quiet? And in like an employee, you would think, how would you solve this or elevate this employee in their annual one-to-one? So this might be a slide worth screenshotting, but this is how you'd have your HR meeting. You would discuss key things like what are the things your website is performing at, and is it meeting those objectives? Is it popular at work? Does it get along with other team members? Do other team members enjoy working with it? Is it reliable? Does it do its job? Do clients and customers like using it, or does it jar with people and it gives bad customer service? Just like an employee would, it might want to give its own feedback, maybe even defend itself if you're being quite hard.
Recording in progress.
Quite hard. What would it say back to you? So would it say it doesn't know what its objectives were, it was never given a job description, or it has so much to do, it's trying to do everything at once that it doesn't know what to prioritize? Would it say it's bored, that it hasn't been given anything new to do, it's not been given any reason to drive traffic, hasn't been given any content or incentive to help drive traffic? Would it say it's been trying to tell you for a while that it's unhappy? Has it said that, it's slow at performing, its plugins are out of date, and simply no one's listening? So to help you with that annual review, here's a list of what a good performing and a bad performing website would look like. So if it's a good performer, it will carry out all of its jobs. Like, does it bring in those sales, those leads? Does it offer customer service? Because it's coming to work and providing a good service to your clients and it's bringing in those sales, that means it's giving a good return of investment. The team like to show it off to clients and use it as a tool. So that would be your sales team or your customer service team would be quite happy to show it off. And your marketing team would, drive traffic quite easily to the website. It looks nice and well presented and it has clear branding and it presents your company's values. And it works quickly, not leaving users waiting around for it to load. We've all been there and it's horrible. A bad performing website is pretty much the opposite. It loads slowly, it's irritating to use. It's not integrated with other systems, so fulfillment could be too manual. Therefore, it's not working with other teams. Clients or colleagues don't like using it, and again, it will pretend it's not there. It's outdated or scruffy. No one likes an employee that will turn up with an unironed shirt and trainers or tracksuit bottoms. You wouldn't want to put that in front of your customer. So Mike will walk through some website basics.
Cool. So what are the basics of a good performing website? What does that look like? So the ideal should mirror something like this, which is our value loop. So both user on one end and business on the other end perceive value in the website. That's why the business built it in the first place, and that's why the user goes to visit. If the user gets genuine value out of the visit, they will interact with it as intended. It could be reading blogs. It could be ultimately making a sale, spending money. That in turn shows value to the business. So they're noticing sales are happening. They're noticing numbers going up. They're noticing lots of visits and interactions with the site. So subsequently, they will be much more inclined to invest in the website, in improving the journey, improving resources, things like that, adding extra value to the website for the user. Thus, in turn, the user finds more value in it and comes back and uses it more. It's a cyclical process with all the stakeholders benefiting. But what we're trying to understand is, how do we get there? So we need to start off with our review and define. So you would never employ a new team member without first defining the role and then at least seeing a CV or having an interview, unless you intended to leave everything to chance. So you need to understand your website and your audience in order to achieve success. This is your due diligence part. You need to be able to answer several key questions, and in doing so, you're defining the environment in which you're operating. And this is where things like personas, user journey mapping, things like that, some buzzwords you may have heard come into play. So first of all, you need to ask yourself the question, what is the objective of the website? Why does it exist? What need does it fulfill or problem does it solve for not only the business, but also the user? Who is the website for? Who is your audience? Not necessarily your current audience, but who is your target audience? And what are their behaviors? How do they use websites? And why will they use this website? And what value does your website provide? How is this website making users' lives easier or better? And what value comes back to the business in turn? And then finally, how will you measure success? So what metrics or KPIs will be used to determine whether this website is a success or a failure? So the key takeaway here is understanding the goals of the business and the goals and pain points of the user. So if you can empathize with the user, you'll be on the right track and you will end up with a blueprint that you can work towards. Next slide, please.
I did not go on.
Oh, sorry.
I can see user experience.
User experience. Okay, so a study was done at Manchester University a few years ago that concluded that humans now have a shorter attention span than goldfish. So good luck with your website. You need to give the user a pain-free and intuitive experience while using your site in order to encourage a positive response. So we take everything we've learned from that previous section, all the data, all the due diligence we've done, and we translate that into layouts that basically map out every page on the site in order to provide the best possible experience for the user, but while maintaining business objectives. We don't want either stakeholder to get lost in the mix. So you need to present your content in a clear and concise way. The keywords here are clear and concise. Users have no tolerance, and as we've established, no attention span for long, rambling pages of text. They will not read it, I guarantee it. So your top level pages should offer bite-sized nuggets of information and offer links to drill down to more detail if the user is interested. You don't want to be putting things in front of them that are of no interest. Pages should be laid out in a clean and logical way in order to lead the user through the content. Your most important content, the stuff that they really need to see, should be near the top of the page, because as you scroll down a page, users will drop off. It's inevitable. So make sure that they're seeing the key information near the top of the page. You need to make it very easy to navigate your website. So if users get lost or can't find what they're looking for, they will leave. Navigating through the site needs to be intuitive and obvious for users. So essential links should be presented at key points of the journey so users don't have to go hunting. There will be key pages on your website that are what we call decision-making pages, where they will either decide to get in touch, make a sale, whatever the interaction may be. You need to make sure that that key button, that key call to action, be it get in touch, be it buy it now, is where it needs to be. If you're forcing users to go hunting for these buttons, you're putting roadblocks in the way. So you need to anticipate questions or sticking points. So if you truly understand your audience, and you'll be able to understand their goals and pain points throughout this journey through your website, and you'll be able to provide key links, as we've said, or even FAQs, just at the right moment. You'll be able to understand what they're thinking as they're scrolling through here. You'll be able to anticipate potential questions. And what you're basically doing is you're removing barriers and you're removing reasons for them to say no. So similarly, no dead ends or unnecessary roadblocks. The worst thing in the world that is a personal bugbear is dead ends on a website, where you scroll through a page and you get to the bottom of the page and there's just nothing except the footer. Any sort of inconvenience or frustration or running out of things to read will push a user to leave. So offer them links to related pages, offer them alternative products, offer them topical blog posts, keep them on the site, keep them interested. And then the visual side of things, this is usually the point when we find stakeholders suddenly become very interested in the project. It's also the most treacherous part because it's so subjective and things can go easily off track. This is where personal preferences, color preferences, font preferences, you name it, it all starts to creep in. So what you're trying to do through the visuals, you're trying to enhance the message and not drown it out with whistles and bells. So make it easy on the eye rather than hard work. Adding things like videos, animations, etc. can create fantastic impact and add gravitas to a site, but you need to do it sparingly and only really on the main landing pages where people are going to arrive at the site to create those big wow moments. Once users get into the nuts and bolts of the information, you don't really want to be adding distraction or slowing loading times on a website. Lead the users through the site with color and contrast. So you can lead users' eyes to key content and in the order that you want them to read it with the use of color and contrast. Bolder and bigger isn't always the right way to go. It's often the go-to solution. But with strategic use of text size and weight, you can literally lead a user around the page. On brand and aligned. So having a stunning looking website is great. However, if the visual doesn't match the other touch points of the business, your brochures, your documents, your social media, then there will be a disconnect for users. So all the collateral, both online and offline, needs to feel completely joined up. And then invest in quality or authentic imagery. Users like genuine presentation because it builds trust and confidence, and people have an ability to often spot stock photography, especially the more staged and fake photography or over-Americanized photography. It just doesn't ring true. So where possible, bring a photographer in, or if you've got the capabilities in-house, do it yourselves, to actually photograph the genuine team, photograph the genuine products, and not rely on stock photography. If you don't have that as an option, then be very selective when using stock imagery, that it just feels a little bit more natural and doesn't fall into this sort of overly staged or staring at the camera sort of shot.
So going back to what I said earlier about giving your website what it needs to do its job, this means it needs the tools like driving traffic, which equals leads, and converting those leads if your website follows the UX suggestions from Mike. This means your website needs content, offers, any incentives to drive those traffic, and then getting in touch, seeing the price or quote products up front needs to be easy. Converting those actions will be easy and give customers everything they need to make those actions or that purchase quickly. So it will follow that tunnel that you can see where you grab your traffic to your website. They see everything they need, which is your need nurturing. They can see the added content value, like Mike says, make it relevant, and then those leads will convert. And keep repeating that strategy. It can't be a one-off. So some suggestions for driving traffic to your website means your incentives need to be in areas where your customers will be. Your incentives will need to be appealing or solve problems, as we can all see through sales pitches, right? Educational industry updates tend to be quite popular, key takeaways that people can take away, mull over, and this will also help with your brand awareness. While doing this, don't forget your SEO efforts. Think about those keywords and answering those search terms. And you pretty much repeat that for paid traffic as well. Again, think about your platform carefully. Think where your return of investment is. If you're a B2B business, is your business going to sit well on platforms like TikTok, or would it do better in places like LinkedIn? Really think about where your target audience would engage the most and where they hang out in their free time as well. Do your research before you start bidding. When you get into the bidding game, it can be really expensive, especially if you're in a competitive industry. So be data-led and really think about those keywords and metadatas that you're answering. So I would suggest starting off organic, really looking and analysing that data before you go into the world of paid. And with ads, you'll have space for a call to action. Make that call to action as clear as possible. You don't want users to think that they're getting something for free and then they land on a lead gen page and they're not getting anything for free. You'll just irritate your users. Back to you, Mike.
Cool. So outcomes and going forward. So with all these considerations in place, your website is now in a position to win any Employee of the Month award. But what's your reward? What is your return on that investment? So hopefully we're going to have lots of happy customers. So users who find your website a valuable resource, they will return. They will be return customers, especially if you are staying on top of updating content, things like blog posts, any sort of opinion pieces or advice, anything you're giving out like that. You give them a reason to come back. Happy teammates. With a website they can rely upon, the entire team will now have confidence in what it can achieve. And they will promote it at every opportunity because they are just over the moon with what it can do, and they're proud of it. We see this quite a lot where a client will come to us with a site that they are so embarrassed about, they don't even mention it. They don't give out the web address to anybody. It just doesn't function. They're not happy. But if they're proud of it, then they will go out of their way to sing its praises. And a hardworking website. So if it's achieving its goals, a hardworking website will become a genuine asset to the business, just like when you find that genuine asset of an employee. Constant leads. This is the ultimate goal, isn't it? So when your website, your marketing team, and your business strategies are all aligned, there is every opportunity that you will be resonating with that target audience now on all fronts, and stream of leads will inevitably follow if you've got everything aligned. So setting KPIs. So just like you would with an employee, it's important to set goals and help monitor the performance of your shiny new website. So some suggestions of things you could use as KPIs, depending upon your individual circumstances. So increase traffic. That's kind of the first step, because without an increase in traffic, you're highly unlikely to convert. The more traffic, the better the numbers, like anything in the marketing game. The bigger the numbers, the more chance you've got. So SEO will help with this, especially if you're coming from an organic search perspective. So if you've got your SEO in line, people searching for whatever it is you're selling are much more likely to find you. But also a strong marketing strategy will be essential. Sitting back and waiting for visitors to just turn up at your door is not an option. You have to be proactive. Increase conversions. This is obviously the ultimate goal, be it sales, leads, or general inquiries. However, these can often be something of a slow burn. So maybe consider secondary or tertiary conversions, such as signing up to a newsletter or following you on social media. You may not get that main win, but can you get some consolidatory wins instead? Reduce bounce backs. So if you're pulling in the numbers, but people aren't hanging around on the site and they're bouncing quickly, then something's not quite right. They're not aligning with the content, and you need to connect more with the users. That's probably something to do with the initial stage where we were investigating who our users were. We just need to get that totally aligned. They need to be interested and engaged. So understanding your audience will ultimately help with reducing bounce backs. Publish regular content. So this ties in with all of the above, really. Publishing regular content such as blogs, videos, resources, and on social media, it all feeds into not only users' perception of the website, but also of the business, helps build your brand. And it'll also please search engines. If your website is never updated, search engines will start to ignore it or downgrade it because nothing's changing. So set a content schedule and stick to it. Try writing things a month ahead of when you intend to publish them. So if something crops up, you don't miss your publishing deadline. And keyword ranking, this is something else you could look into as a KPI in terms of how you're ranking with your chosen keywords. Having an ongoing SEO strategy that includes regular SEO research will help to ensure that all your content on your site is helping to rank the site higher. But SEO strategies change, the SEO things change, so you need to stay on top of it. And regular one-to-ones. So your website's up and running, but it's important to keep in touch, to review and refine, and in order to avoid any more underperforming. So this, just in the same way as you would with an employee, you don't set them in place and just ignore them for the next 12 months. It's good to stay in touch, just keep in touch with them and stay on top of things. So many businesses will leave the website alone once it's live, and they've ticked that box on their list. And this can often prove fatal. and it will undo a lot of the good work you've done. So having a healthy ongoing strategy for your website will help it stay on top of its game. So regular checking often for things like speed issues, broken links, plugins that need updating is an absolute must. It won't always be obvious, so it's good to have regular sort of maintenance checks. Cleanups, yeah, tidy your room, removing redundant content that's no longer relevant, any duplicate or unused images, these sorts of things. It can just help keep the speed of the site optimal. And that's what we ultimately want as well. We want a quick site. We don't want anything that's slow to load. So stay up to date. Again, keeping content such as products, team members, business information, all these sorts of things up to date helps prevent the site looking out of touch. We've all been there where we've gone to a site and the last blog post was like 2018. And your instinct is to, oh, they're not updating this site anymore. And it has a negative impact. It has to have a negative impact. So stay on top of SEO updates too, because as I say, these can change as well. So just keep things tip top and on the ball. And reviewing analytics, this is very, very important. So quarterly, at least, reviews of analytics. It'll help indicate if there's any opportunities to improve the site and its content. So the analytics will tell you how users are actually using the site. Everything up to this point has been guesstimating and based on what limited data we've had. Only when something comes into contact with its audience will you actually find out how it's actually being used. And by reviewing your analytics, you'll be able to pick out pages that are working really well, pages that aren't working at all, how long people are staying on the site, what tech are they using. You may have built the site aimed at desktop. It may turn out that the majority of people are using it on mobile and you need to pivot and take that into account. So there's lots of things to take on board. Analytics will be the solution for that.
So just to quickly recap, what we've just said is we really want you to, as a takeaway from this, to sit down with your website, grab a coffee and go through your website and really look at it like an employee and have that conversation. It sounds silly, but it really does help look to see if your website is giving your business the value it should as an employee, or, you know, would you invest in it, promote it, train it, or is it time to make it redundant and start again? And this is where we can help. So we can offer health checks to non-existing clients. And this is where we do a lot of that plugin and maintenance checks, and to make sure that your website is working optimized. Mike, as our senior UX designer, he's really good at giving feedback on how to create a UX journey, and really making sure that those objectives that you want your website to have flows quite nicely through the website. Like Mike says, it needs to be quick. We've all been there. We don't wait around on websites if we feel like it's going to be hard work. We also offer monthly retainers. So for our clients, we offer things like maintenance, where we can do the one-to-one for you. We'll go in and we'll check that the website's working fine, and we'll give updates to make sure that it's staying up to, you know, trends, and it's not getting neglected. We offer SEO as a strategy. The world of SEO, as I'm sure you guys know, it changes all the time. The algorithm's changing. The most recent one from Google is that they're really cracking down on spammy websites. So we're using AI content only. So we really recommend that SEO is not ignored, which it often is. As an agency, we do tend to build bespoke websites. So we do quote bespokely. We don't believe in the one-size-fits-all approach. When we speak to our clients, we really spend a lot of time in that discovery phase, trying to understand and help our clients understand what they want from their website and how to get there. But we do offer a template option, and this is for companies whose budget won't stretch to a full bespoke website. We know the economy is a bit tough at the moment, so we've got this option as well. And as a thank you for us sticking around and joining us today, if you click on the QR code, it'll take you to a form that you can fill in on our website. And on there, once we receive these, we can offer a personalized audit. So myself and the team will go through your website and we'll offer a report. It's not a templated report, it's 100% personalized. And we'll be able to help you with that conversation or start that conversation. And we'll also send out a template of those questions and where, because we know if you're not website experts, it's not easy to know how to set out a performance review. So we'll send that template over to you as well. I'll leave that QR code up for a while, but this might be a good time to start answering any questions if there are any.
That's super. So I can't see yellow hands. Can we send the QR code out?
Yeah, I can send it around.
Yeah, so I think we'll do that. Can we just take the slide down so we can see everyone? Excellent. That was really good. Right. Can I see any yellow hands?
No questions. That's
Okay.
cool.
I'm going to ask a question. Did everyone get the QR code? Yep. But we'll still send it out. Can't believe there are no questions. Is everyone just
going to go away and have that chat with their website?
Yeah. Yes. Well, can you see any yellow hands, Charlie?
No, no.
Oh, right. Well, I think you've done such a good job, chaps.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. That was really, really, really interesting. And what I'm going to do.
Peter has a question.
Sorry?
Peter has a
Oh,
question.
Peter's got.
Come on, question. Oh yeah, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, what I sometimes, because I suppose like many of us hate, oh, you know, I haven't written anything for a while. I need, but I sort of get various of these sort of circulars from different groups that I belong to, and every now and again, I glean that some organisation or the other has written something that's a potential interest. So I'll just put a little note which basically says on the website, oh, you know, vis-a-vis this, so-and-so have produced a report you might want to have a look at, and here's the link. I mean, is that valid? Is that something that's useful, or am I wasting my time doing that?
So as in writing content and gating it so you can collect leads before anyone can read it, or just creating content and sharing it on social media?
Sharing others' content, basically.
Yeah, I'm just saying so-and-so has written, you know, an interesting report on this, and I might say a sentence saying outlining X and Y, and, you know, here's the link to it.
It would be good to do it on social media. I wouldn't recommend it so much on your website, because people go to your website and then you're directing them straight away from your website. So it would be better if you wrote a piece of content and reference them and say, you know, here's an article here. I mean, that does give SEO value, but I wouldn't do a paragraph as a blog and just direct people straight off your website. It wouldn't benefit your website.
On social media, I think, in lieu of doing nothing, I think it's a good filler for now, because what it's showing is that you are present and that you're active. I think if you're just quiet forever and a day, then you'll just drop off people's radars. At least if you're doing these, you're staying sort of visible.
Proving I'm still alive.
Yeah, basically. I think it's a good fallback if you don't have anything particular to say at that time. Yeah.
But unique content kind of does beat all. I mean, what you could do is maybe an opinion piece, give your opinion on another content article that someone else has written.
Yeah, your spin on it. Yeah. That's a good idea.
In the world of AI, people are really interested in opinions at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I think we know that Peter George will be, because he's such an expert in his field, you'll be giving your views now, Peter. Thank
Yeah,
you for-
definitely do. Mike does opinion pieces. He did one on Pepsi's new logo a year ago, and it's still one of our top articles. So opinion pieces are very exciting.
Yes.
Right, we've all learned that one now. Sybil, you have a question.
I do. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation. It was really informative. My question is about SEO and the algorithms. Search algorithms are constantly changing, and we need to keep ourselves updated with them. What is the best way to do that? Like, how do we find out about the latest updates? Is there a website or a newsletter?
There is. It's a Sixtwo blog. We often write updates and how to use them in a strategy. But for us to do that, we're subscribed to a lot of SEO experts. TDLR are good at giving updates. You can also ask Google itself, what's your latest updates, or HubSpot's another good resource. Another agency that we partner with sometimes, Sleeping Giant, they do really good webinars on latest SEO algorithms. So it's just a case of being really active when looking for your research. But Google do a lot of SEO updates, so it is worth keeping on track.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look at those. Thank you.
Cool.
Oh, we have one. Thank you. We have one at For Your Party.
Hi. Just off the back of Sybil's question about SEO, I've been working quite hard on my SEO, and I finally got to the first page of Google. If I was to come now and redo my website and have someone redo my website so it looked a bit more professional, a bit more refreshed, will I have to work again to try and get the SEO to get me to the first page of Google, or would that not be altered at all?
It depends what your approach is. If you change your domain and your SEO efforts, then yes, it would have a dip. If you've got your content there and you're setting up redirect links, then it'd be fine. So if it's a valid piece of content, an article, you can have that on your current website, and that would be fine. So it really depends if you're going completely left, or if it is just a website refresh and you're just changing your design.
Okay.
I think as long as you're not changing the URL of any given pages, and you've still got all those keywords on the page, effectively all you're doing is rearranging them on the page and dropping in graphics and whatnot. So theoretically, it shouldn't have a big impact on your SEO. Ironically, because you're updating the page, you might get a few more brownie points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because you're changing it. The search engines do not like static sites with dust on them. Typically get downgraded. If you are constantly posting content or updating and nipping and tucking and tweaking and things like that, the search engines love that, because it means that you're active and you're on it, and you're providing things for users, and that's what they target in on.
Okay, thank you.
A formula worth looking at is Google's, and it's EAT, EEAT, and it's about trustworthiness, accessibility. So if you're keeping, like Mike says, your website up to date, and effectively making it easier for people to use Google over ChatGPT, then they'll reward you with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Excellent. And I hope you picked up the did you get the QR code?
Yeah.
There you go. You know what you're up to today. Do I have any more little yellow hands? No. Right. I'm just going to give a few plugs. I hope everyone's if you're free next Wednesday evening, we're off to the Bromley Court Hotel for our Lincoln Drinks, that starts at 6 o'clock, 6 till 8. And then if you are a chamber member, we have Greenwich office drinks. We're going to Drury Tea and Coffee on Wednesday, the 8th of May. Again, that's 6 till 8. And that's for chamber members only. And you can, if you're a member, you can bring a guest. But that we're going to have tastings of coffees from very specialized coffees from around the world. And also they do wonderful cocktails. And if you like a dry martini cocktail, or you never had a dry martini cocktail, book in after this, Wednesday, the 8th of May, and Drury Tea and Coffee will share with you. And then I hope we got quizzes out there. We're going to have our next quiz at the Clarendon Hotel, Thursday, the 16th of May. And although we have a maximum of 10 on a team, there could be one of you and come and enjoy the quiz, because we'll have chamber teams as well. In your ticket price, you get fabulous bangers and mash, including brilliant vegetarian sausages. And then if anyone wants legal stuff, we've got a Greenwich evening drinks. We're having 2 law firms, Grant Saw and Thackeray Williams, are going to talk about employment law. That's going to be, that's Doubletree by Hilton, which is in Greenwich. And that's going to be a really, really interesting one. So Charlie will be sending all these details out, and definitely the QR code. And I would just like to say to Mike and Sam, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks,
You're
Emma.
And
welcome.
I'm going to
Thank
be
you.
really cheeky and ask you to give us another one later in the year.
Absolutely.
Cool.
That's all right. And this will go up on our YouTube channel, and we'll see you all soon. So thank you, everyone.